World leaders are absolutely furious at Donald Trump and his regime, and they are speaking out yet again in major world conferences, the most recent conference in Oslo. I'll talk about that in a moment. But one of the things that happened earlier yesterday is during a press conference in the Oval Office where Donald Trump claimed that he was completely vindicated by the release of the Epstein files, which was totally false. His name appeared 38,000 times in over 5,000 documents from the Epstein files. Donald Trump also said that he spoke to Putin recently. So as the Epstein files got released, where Putin's name is all over it as well, Donald Trump says he was on the phone with Putin. And then Donald Trump said Putin promised him that because the weather was so cold in Ukraine and Russia, that Putin would agree essentially to a ceasefire and that there would be no missile strikes in the near future. At the same time Putin said that, there were ballistic and cruise missile strikes happening directly into Kyiv. So Donald Trump relayed the message that you're good, Zelensky. Tell everybody in Ukraine they're fine. I've been assured by Vladimir Putin you're going to have a good night in Ukraine tonight. I promise. No Shahid drones. You're going to be great. So then Zelensky goes on social media and releases a video to his people in Ukraine saying, we're good tonight. We're okay. And here's what Zelensky writes. Today, throughout the day, there were no missile strikes or Shaheeds targeting our infrastructure. This demonstrates that when the United States has the motive to really change the situation can change. But Donald Trump, of course, betrayed Ukraine, left them vulnerable, thinking that they could finally be safe in this freezing weather. And then Russia launched one of its biggest massive missile and drone strikes to date, attacking residential complexes, attacking Ukrainians. Look at people right here hiding in Kyiv's metro stations as they thought they were going to be good because Trump promised them that everything's going to be fine. And then it was an absolute disaster and hell broke loose. Apartment buildings were ablaze after the Russian attack. Multiple explosions could be heard over and over again. Russia likely launched both ballistic and cruise missiles at Ukraine every hour after hour. Again, a massive betrayal by Donald Trump. As Kate from Kharkiv writes, so Trump walked out to journalists and says that Putin promised not to strike Kyiv or other cities for a week. And then immediately thereafter, Russia starts bombing several Ukrainian cities and apartment buildings on fire. Explosions shake Kharkiv. What the hell is going on right now? Just so you can hear what Donald Trump said for yourself, here's what he said. Let's play this clip right here.
There's tremendous hatred between Zelensky and Putin. Tremendous hatred. I mean, it's a shame, but it's taken longer than we thought. I did call up President Putin, and he's agreed. He's put it out to. They have the same cold wave that we do, maybe different because it's pretty far away, but it's the equivalent. And Ukraine's a very cold country. It's much colder than us. It's colder than, they say, on average, it's Canada or colder. And on top of that, they have a tremendous cold wave. And I asked him if he wouldn't shoot for a period of 1 week, no missiles going into Kiev or any other towns, and he's agreed to do it. So it's something.
Horrific stuff. And Russian terrorists launched those missiles towards Kyiv throughout. Russian drone strikes in negative 22 degrees Celsius. I want to bring us now to Oslo. At the Oslo Security Conference, and specifically, you had the Poland Deputy Prime Minister, and you had the Foreign Minister, Radoslaw Sikorski, deliver a major warning about the United States and about Russia. And this took place before those ballistic and cruise missile strikes. You also heard a little bit from Norway's Foreign Minister, Espen Barth Eide, as well. And then Norway's Prime Minister spoke. But I want to share this part with you right here. This is Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister basically talking about how the room they were in is actually where the Nobel Peace Prize used to be given out. And he says, we hear about the Nobel Peace Prize a lot in the news lately. Here, play this clip.
The Nobel Peace Prize is sort of some interest right now. Prime ministers get letters. Our Speaker of Parliament has stated this morning that unfortunately he will not be signing the ready-made nomination paper for the next Nobel Peace Prize. Apparently, as foreign ministers, we also have the right to nominate. I'm on the record saying that if President Trump secures a fair peace for Ukraine, I shall do it myself. But it's I who will decide what a fair peace is.
And here, the Deputy Prime Minister, Sikorski, kind of mocks Donald Trump for calling the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. Let's play this clip right here.
To convince you how serious this is, I once, a couple of years ago, I asked the chairman of BP how much it cost them to clean up the mess created by Deepwater Horizon. Do you remember in the Gulf of America, once called the Gulf of Mexico? The total cost, the rescue operation, the cleanup, and the payoffs, and the legal costs, $65 billion, half the value of the company.
Then we heard from the Norwegian Prime Minister, Jonas Støre. And Jonas, Prime Minister of Norway, talks about how sad it was for him when he saw the United States flag being pulled down from the World Health Organization in Geneva. And the Prime Minister of Norway used to be one of the main leaders of the World Health Organization. And he said, that's ultimately going to make us all much weaker because there's going to inevitably be another pandemic and the United States is out. It's a real big betrayal. Here, play this clip.
As a former chief of staff of the World Health Organization 25 years ago, when I saw that picture last week of the US flag being taken down in front of the WHO building in Geneva, I thought, this is also very bad. Yeah. For security, because there's going to be a new pandemic, there's going to be new global health threats, and the idea that the US will defend the US mainland against health threats by pulling out of that cooperation is very, very serious. So, in understanding modern security, we have to get weapons right, and industries right, and command structures right, but these elements will still be absolutely fundamental, how we do cooperation on that, on trade, on health, and on new technologies.
And here is also what the Prime Minister of Norway had to say about Donald Trump's tariffs against the world. We could play this clip right here.
And the fact that we have experienced from a lead ally the reintroduction of tariffs, which runs counter to what we have experienced since late 40s of tariffs being built down. So one thing is building tariffs up as a means of rebalancing trade. I think most economists will question, in the big scheme, whether that really works. But what we experienced 2 weeks ago, when the US used tariffs against allies as a political means to force through the perspective on Greenland, which in itself, wanting to grab land from another land, inside an alliance, illustrates how this is changing. I could go on because there are many such examples.
Sorry to interrupt, but I've got some important news. This is a story that's seriously underreported and it matters a lot right now, especially with millions of Americans dealing with the brutal winter weather. Donald Trump is always talking about energy, energy, energy. He claims prices are coming down. He claims he's making things cheaper. But surprise, surprise, that's just not true. It's a lie. And he's the reason that costs are going up. According to the Energy Information Administration, household electricity costs are up 13% under Trump already. 13%. That's real money for families just trying to keep the heat on. And it's happening as demand is spiking. More than 1 million people recently lost power during the massive winter storm, and instead of expanding energy options, Trump has threatened or canceled over 300 clean energy projects, taking supply off the grid when we need it most. Now, rate hikes are rolling out across the country. In Arkansas, electric bills are jumping 23%, about $24 more a month. In Colorado Springs, gas bills are expected to rise another $7 to $10. New Yorkers are seeing higher gas and electricity rates. California, Illinois, North Carolina, Texas, the list goes on and on. This isn't some abstract policy debate. These are higher bills, right now in the middle of winter. Trump can call climate change a hoax all he wants, but the effects of his attacks on clean energy are very much real and people are feeling it. Trump's reckless energy policies are making it more expensive to survive and Americans are paying the price. So if you don't mind, I want to do a little bit of research right here, right now. Let me know in the comments if your energy bills have gone up, and if so, how much? If they've increased, have you cut back on heating this winter? What are your thoughts on Trump's attacks on clean energy in general? I want to hear it all. Let me know in the comments. You know that these stories are a priority for us here at MeidasTouch, so I'll be back here soon with more updates. Ben, back to you.
More over here from the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Sikorski. Here, play this clip right here.
Let me raise two more issues connected to security. First, economic cooperation. As the world's 20th largest economy, which Poland is now, we are ready to step up our cooperation in new fields, in IT, in quantum technologies, energy, space programs, and broader research. I'm also very proud to have learned from our ambassador this morning that the Polish petrochemical company, Orlen, is the 10th largest taxpayer in Norway. In the world of hybrid risks and trade wars, cooperation, innovation, and competitiveness are not a choice. They are a must. Secondly, Norway and the European Union. Norway is no longer a self-sufficient country on the periphery of Europe. Norway is not just yet another European country. You are a pillar of Europe's security. And in a world where long-established principles are undermined, we need more European unity. Rest assured that if you ever apply to join the European Union, I am confident in saying that whoever is in charge in Poland will vote in favor. Ladies and gentlemen, the last few years have made it very clear where our friends are, certainly in Northern Europe. The relationship between our countries is built on reliability and a shared understanding of our commitments. This allows us to plan for the long term and to act with confidence, even in an uncertain international environment. Poland has been and will remain your trustworthy and accountable ally, and we know this commitment is fully reciprocated. Thank you very much.
Here's what Norway's Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide had to say about Russia. Let me play this clip with you.
In this very murky and difficult world that was so well described by the previous panels, you really get to know who your near friends, close friends are, your real friends are, the closest friends are. And what has happened and this is a long-term development, but after there's at least one thing that President Putin has achieved that I appreciate, which is that he helped Finland and Sweden to finally decide that they should join NATO. And the fact that Finland and Sweden joined NATO matters for Polish-Norwegian relations, for clear geographical reasons, because what has happened now is that we have a continuous landmass of NATO countries from the Barents Sea or our part of the Arctic Sea down to the Baltic Sea, and everything between until you get over to Russia is NATO territory. So that means a lot for military planning. It means a lot for security sharing, intel sharing and other kinds of sharing, but also for a strong sense of togetherness among what we often refer to as the NB8, the Nordic Baltic 8 countries, which are all small or medium-sized countries, but also with our close neighbors just to the south of that, which, of course, in which Poland is a key example.
And more from the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Radosław Sikorski, talking about Arctic security right here. I think it's important that you hear this. Let's play this clip right here.
The only way to defeat and keep away Russia is to continue degrading their energy sector and to limit the flow of resources to their defense companies. We believe in alliance's principle of 360 degrees. We follow the developments in the Arctic region and share your perspective, enshrined in the already mentioned Norwegian National Security Strategy and your new Arctic strategy. The Arctic is becoming a region of growing tensions. Please be sure that you will not be alone in facing this new challenge.
Then there was a major meeting that took place in Japan between Prime Minister Keir Starmer as well as the Japanese Prime Minister Takaishi. And again, you'll see these trips happening throughout the world as these new alliances, the UK and Japan, are allies, but strengthening their alliances together. Here, Prime Minister of UK Keir Starmer calls for stronger UK and Japan alliances amid what he refers to as basically a massive shakeup taking place. Let's play this clip.
My visit here today comes at a time when geopolitical, economic and technological shocks are literally shaking the world. And that matters deeply to the British people, because these international events increasingly come crashing into our daily lives. When war overseas drives up fuel prices at home, it's families that feel it first. When supply chains fracture, it's small businesses and working people who absorb the shock. And when instability rises, it's the vulnerable who are the most exposed. So our response together must be one of strength and clarity, deepening our resilience, our powers, and our alliances to better serve our people.
And here they are together again. And here's Keir Starmer with the Japanese Prime Minister Takaishi. You can hear for yourself. Let's play this clip.
We are both proud trading nations, so we have a clear interest in maintaining free and predictable trade and a free and open Indo-Pacific to ensure our businesses can thrive in a turbulent world. So we're going to work together to support the institutions which help to provide the stability and predictability that our countries need to flourish. That includes expanding the CPTPP and deepening its cooperation with the EU. And it includes building more diversified supply chains in key areas such as critical mineral. Ultimately, this is how we will make our economies more resilient and how we will deliver economic prosperity and security for our people. So I want to thank Sanai for hosting us here today. I look forward to our dinner in a moment and to the meeting that I hope we will have in Chequers. We share vital interests and principles, but more than that, we share an ambition for this partnership which can deliver real benefits for both nations. I look forward to driving that forward together, and I look forward, as I say, to welcoming you to Chequers later this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, with all of this going on, we also know that Donald Trump, we're now learning the Wall Street Journal article talked about how Trump received $500 million from the United Arab Emirates for Trump's World Liberty Financial. That was basically diverted directly to Donald Trump and Witkoff. And it seems, in my opinion, in return, because we know that this happened, the Trump regime gave the United Arab Emirates the most classified semiconductor chips that the United States has, which presents one of the biggest national security risks ever to the United States. So Donald Trump was asked about getting this money to his company, World Liberty Financial, from the United Arab Emirates. And here's what Donald Trump says. Let's play this clip right here.
Mr. President, the Wall Street Journal reported that the royal family of Abu Dhabi invested hundreds of millions of dollars in your World Liberty Financial. Can you explain why you decided to take that investment? Was that a transaction?
Well, I don't know about it. I know that crypto is a big thing and they like it. A lot of people like it. The people behind me like it. My sons are handling that. My family is handling it. And I guess they get investments from different people, but I'm not. I have all I can handle right now with Iran and with Russia and Ukraine and with all the things we're doing.
And this is his MO right here. Deny, deny, deny. I don't know anything. You didn't know that you got $500 million? You didn't know that you compromised America's national security and that technology is probably now with people who are hostile to the United States. Let me just read this statement from the president of the European Union Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who said, she spoke with Zelensky this afternoon ahead of this week's peace talks. As we approach the 4th year of the brutal war against Ukraine, Russia continues to double down on war crimes, strike civilian infrastructure and homes. Day after day, year after year, Europe's support for Ukraine remains unwavering. We're sending hundreds of generators to keep the heat and lights on. We have tabled a €90 loan proposal for the next 2 years. We are advancing toward a single unified prosperity framework, and very soon we will present our 20th package of sanctions. This is about increasing pressure on Russia. Leave you with that. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million, and thanks for watching.
New Midas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.